look forward to getting mine every month.
Okay.
I just started mine.
Dude, me too. We're synced.
You still get it, Grandma?
Sure do.
It's so heavy. I cried. It's happening again.
I'd invite you up, but I just got my book of the month.
Book of the month. Choose from 5 new books and get your favorite delivered to you monthly.
Stunning video templates. Each video maker is carefully designed to look professional. Our video makers are super easy to use and let anyone with an internet connection create high quality videos in seconds. Edit logos, mockups, videos, and design templates with just a few clicks. Each template is carefully made by design experts, so your work will always look great. Get started with the best video maker at Placie.net.
About her connection to Beth. He must have remembered her name and seen the number in her contacts. But he hasn't found the address yet, thank God. Otherwise, she'd already be dead. Cassie tried doing a reverse lookup on Beth's number herself many times, but could never find a corresponding address. That doesn't mean Rick wouldn't have better luck. If he knows she's here, it's only a matter of time before he tracks her down. She has to get the hell out of here. She hears Beth leave the house and get into her car. She goes to the window, peeking out. Beth glances over, but Cassie shifts into the shadows so she can't be seen. She notices Beth's forehead scored with worry lines as she drives away. Cassie has seen that look on her old friend's face many times before. She knows something's wrong. But this changes everything. Rick tracking her down so soon? She has to find somewhere else to go. She grabs her suitcase, throwing it on the bed, starting to pack. She should leave the country. That would be the best thing to do. But the cops have probably already flagged her name and they'd get her at the airport. There was a guy outside of Vegas. She and Rick were going there for new IDs after the drop. Was it worth the chance? Or would Rick be waiting for her there? One way or another, she can't stay here any longer. She gets an idea and digs in her purse for the business card she took from the hotel room the other day. Cupping the phone to her ear, she dials the number.
Hi, you've reached Matt Addison of North Star Biochemical. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you.
She takes a deep breath, trying to sound natural. Hey, Matt, it's Kathy. Remember me? A sexy laugh. So sorry I had to take off the other day. It was an emergency. But I'm still in town and I'd love to grab dinner tonight. What do you think? My treat. I'll try you again in a bit. She hangs up, moving quickly, tossing more of her things into the suitcase. Her makeup bags, her scattered clothes. The handset rings. She sees Omni Plaza Hotel on the call display and answers. Hey!
Hi there.
His voice is sullen.
I didn't expect to hear from you again.
But that's why I'm calling, so I can make it up to you. So what do you think about dinner tonight?
I think that's doable,
he says, playfully grudging.
I'll be out of here around 7 or so. We could meet in the lounge for...
Actually, can you come get me?
Sorry, I don't think so. I don't have a car here.
Maybe you can rent one.
Well, maybe later. But I'm swamped right now. I can't get away. The appeal's tomorrow, and...
Shit. She cuts him off, chewing her lip.
Why? What's wrong?
Nothing. I just needed a ride. That's okay. I'll see you in the lounge at 7.
Okay, sounds good. But, Kathy, please don't ever call my cell number again. Promise me. Next time, just call me at the hotel.
Yeah, whatever. She hangs up. Just an average married man trying to cover his tracks. Asshole. But she needs him tonight. She can't stay here and she has nowhere else to go. If she meets him at 7, she has 5 hours to wait. Should she go to the hotel and wait there? Or somewhere else? Can she just stay here for the day? Or is it too dangerous? Because it's not just Rick she has to worry about. If he's alive, he knows she took that money. What if he's hooked up with the supplier from Florida? Or the guys who bought the junk? Cassie knows what men like that do to people who steal their cash. Rick could be with them already, trying to set her up right now. They'll find her eventually. If the cops don't get to her first.
Chapter 48. J. Thursday afternoon. Glock 19 instructions. Pizza kitchen delivery. SAG scale rates. Flights to Miami. Jay sits on the couch in the living room, stunned by the recent searches on his laptop. They ordered pizza last night while they were playing video games, but Glock 19? He inputs the term, just to make sure, and 300,000 hits come up, complete with menacing shots of a pistol with a deadly black profile. Jesus. He's even more concerned why Cassie isn't up and about yet. He heard her in there earlier, shuffling around, could even smell her smoking through the inch of her open door. But she hasn't been out in hours, and he needs to use the printer. He has a vague worry that she's being so quiet because of the Ambien news. Maybe she's judging him. Dizzy legs. How could Beth be so rude? But now everything is so silent, it's as if she's already gone. He tries to imagine this place without her, but she was like fire damage. The smell of smoke will always be in the walls. He goes over the notes his father had dropped off about the budget one more time, then slides the pages back into the manila envelope. Cassie told him she met his dad yesterday. "You guys look so much alike," she said. But she wouldn't explain more than that. He's almost afraid to hear what his father thinks. Cassie Ogilvy isn't the kind of woman you want your polite daughter-in-law hanging out with. Finally, he hears footsteps from the hallway. Thank God. He waits until the shower turns on, then hits print, making 5 copies of the updated budget. He hears a faint click as the first page catches in the extra room. He creeps into the hall. The door to the guest bathroom isn't quite closed, resting against the frame. Over the running water, he hears her humming. He hurries down the hall, bracing himself for the steeplechase of junk. Beth warned him this girl was a slob when they were roommates, but when he peeked in the room yesterday, it was beyond comprehension. Clothes everywhere, cheap lingerie hanging about, empty beer bottles, dirty ashtrays. To be a guest in someone's house and care so little about keeping the place neat? Still, there was something about that attitude he admired, the coolness of her. So unlike Beth, with her suits and her pumps and her early morning alarm. Cassie was just so herself, frank and honest and in your face. If they were movies, Beth would be like a Bergman film, all subtext and hidden meanings. But Cassie was a summer blockbuster, nothing but explosions, car chases, and gunfights. When he gets to the room, he's surprised. Her blue suitcase sits upright and closed. The makeup tubes and hairbrushes are packed away. She must have decided to leave early after all. He doesn't know if he's pleased or disappointed. He tries to shake it off, waiting for the aggravating old printer to spew out the remainder of his documents. His father's suggestions actually helped. He was able to trim another $100,000 off the bottom line. He grabs the stapler and turns to leave the room, but freezes when he sees Cassie in the doorway. He hadn't even heard the shower go off. How did she get here so fast? She wears only a towel wrapped around her body, and not a big one. It barely reaches her thighs. She holds the edge, tucked in at one corner, but the tops of her breasts heave over it. Her long, dark hair is dripping wet as she runs her fingers through it, shaking it out, just watching him. For a moment, he can't speak, can't move, unable to believe any woman would let herself stand half-naked in front of a friend's husband like this without even blushing. "You spying on me?" Her eyes narrow as she looks around the room, seeming suspicious. No, sorry. I just needed to print something." He motions with the papers, but almost drops the stapler at the same time, having to clamp it against his body to catch it from falling. "No prob," she says. "Mi casa, su casa." He tries to laugh, but thinks only it's mi casa to begin with. He walks toward her, expecting her to step aside, but she doesn't move, blocking the doorway. He clears his throat, a manly apology, he thinks, and tries to step the other way, but she shifts so he can't get by. She's not holding the towel anymore, and it loosens, threatening to fall. He moves the other way, but she does it again, stepping in front of him. "Don't you hate when this happens?" she says. "I'll stand, you go." Jay moves one way, but she shifts her weight again, this time grazing him with her breasts. He freezes, staring down at her, heat prickling his cheeks. "You must have been lousy at hoops," she says. "Wasn't my game." "No kidding." She grins and finally steps out of his way. He hurries out of the room. His hands shake as he works at the coffee table, collating and stapling the new budget. but it's hard to concentrate. A physical memory tingles on his skin where her breasts touched him. He feels self-conscious, as if he's done something wrong. He hears the blow-dryer whir for a couple minutes, then her bare feet in the hall. His chest tightens as she walks into the room. She's changed into a short white robe, and her hair is still slightly damp. "You can work in there if you want. I'll stay out of your way." "It's all right. I'm fine here." He doesn't look at her as he gathers up another sheaf of pages, tapping them straight. Shit, why is he so tense? Is it the Glock search on his laptop? Or is it because she's naked beneath that robe? "Mind if I watch, then?" "Nothing to see." "Don't be too sure of that. I'm fascinated by the movie business." But she doesn't seem fascinated. She seems tense, going to the window, peering back and forth through the blinds. "You waiting for someone?" But she ignores him, twisting the blinds closed. The room goes dim. "Want a drink?" she asks, walking to the bar. "No, thanks." "Come on, it's our last day together." She pours a strong drink, then grabs a second glass. "Last day? I thought you were leaving tomorrow." "I'm not sure. Things are sorta up in the air right now. Scotch, right?" I said I'm fine. She pours him a double, anyway. "Don't be a party pooper. Your dad had a drink with me yesterday." "He did?" "Yeah, when he dropped that off." She puts his drink down, pointing to the manila envelope on the table. But Jay's puzzled. His father hadn't mentioned staying for a drink. "What are you working on?" she asks. He's relieved when she doesn't sit on the couch beside him, but pulls up the leather chair, adjusting it on the other side of the table. He senses that something else is going on, though. She still seems preoccupied, her knee pumping. "Just budget shit," he says, stapling another copy of the document. "So you're not too busy then? You think you'd have time to give me a ride somewhere? I mean, if I had to go somewhere, could you drive me?" He gives a dry laugh. "I'm not sure. I guess it depends on when and where. What's up?" "It's nothing. If you're too busy, forget it," she says, lighting a cigarette. As she leans forward to put the package on the table, she dips low enough to reveal her cleavage. Jay freezes when he notices the view. She sits back and puts one foot on the coffee table, revealing more of her bare legs. He can't understand his response to this woman. 20 minutes ago, he was worried she was judging him about something. Now that she's here, he wishes she were back in her room. "Seriously, Cassie, what's wrong? Where do you have to go?" "Doesn't matter," she says, exhaling. "So, you don't play basketball. What is your game, then?" "I don't know. What's yours?" he answers, his mouth dry. "I'm pretty open-minded." "You don't say. So what did you and my—" But the house phone rings, cutting him off. Cassie tenses, as if she's afraid who might be calling. It doesn't seem like her to be so nervous. What's wrong with her today? "It's just Beth," he says, checking the display. She heaves a sigh of relief. "I'll get it." As she leans over to answer, Jay catches the swell of her breasts again, and the first blush of her nipple. He takes a deep breath, holds it. "Hey, working girl," she says, answering. She finds the speaker button on the keypad and hits it. "Doing okay?" He bristles as his wife's voice fills the room. She sounds small and distant, as if she were on a space station 1,000,000 miles away. "Totally," Cassie says. "Just took a shower, borrowed your blow dryer. Hope you don't mind." "No problem. Listen, is Jay around?" Cassie grins, staring across the table at him. "Actually, no, he's not." He cocks his head in confusion. "Where'd he go?" "I don't know." She blows a smoke ring, her mouth moving in a lush, agile circle. She's performing for him. "He was gone when I got out of the shower. I didn't see him." "He must be at a meeting. He's had such a busy week." Beth's voice again, punching through the pounding in his head. Anyway, I think I might be a bit late tonight. There's a birthday thing here. I'm going to try to get out of it, but if I can't, I should be home around 7. We'll get takeout or something. Unless you feel like going somewhere, it's your last night. We could do something special. Whatever, I'm easy. She gives Jay a wink. Actually, Cass, I'm kind of glad Jay's not there. I wanted to talk to you alone. You did? She arches an eyebrow, curious. Yeah, I have to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. She laughs. That I can't guarantee. I'm serious, Cass. What's going on with you? Really? She jerks back, surprised. What are you talking about? Jay feels embarrassed for Cass and ashamed of his wife. Beth doesn't usually pry like this. It's just a feeling I have. I know you, Cass. I know you better than anyone. I think something's up with you and you're not telling me everything. I just want you to tell me the truth. You can trust me. You know that. What the hell are you talking about? Cassie asks, sitting forward, her mouth fixed in a snarl. Her robe shifts open, gaping all the way to the knot in the belt. If she's aware of it, she makes no attempt to adjust the silk. I'm just worried about you, that's all. I haven't heard from you in years, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, you need a place to stay. I think you're hiding something, Cass. Maybe you're in trouble, or... What the fuck? Cassie interrupts, stabbing out her cigarette. You don't think I'm ashamed enough I can't afford a hotel? That I've got to sponge off you like some charity case? You want to rub it in or something? No, it's just that... Bullshit! I don't know why you always think the worst of me. I don't. You do. You always did. Jay feels awkward overhearing the spat, but he's fascinated, too, watching their codependent relationship play out, seeing Beth so helpless in front of this bully. Cassie, please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. You're just what? Cassie mocks her. I just want to make sure you're okay. I didn't mean to start a fight. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm so sorry, really. A desperate groan. Will you forgive me? I don't know, she grumbles. Come on, just forget I brought it up. It's nothing. We'll have fun tonight, okay? I promise. But Cass doesn't say anything. Beth sighs heavily. I should go try to track Jay down. If you see him, ask him what he wants to do for dinner, okay? Cassie looks up at him, cocks her head. I will. Love you. But Cassie hangs up, and the connection is broken. The living room is quiet again, the two of them more alone than ever. Your wife wants to know what you feel like eating for dinner, she says. She tilts her knee inward, allowing her robe to fall open on one side. He glances down to see a hint of a tan line and the bare curve of her hip, but no panties. I was kind of wondering that myself. She starts rocking her knee open and closed in a rhythmic, lazy way, the hem of the robe slipping down further each time. He can almost see. Almost. Why is she acting like this? Is she trying to trick him or something? Is she just mad at Beth? What the hell is he supposed to do? His cell phone rings on the table, and it makes him flinch. Oops, that'll be her. I wouldn't answer if I were you. I'm not sure you're that good a liar. Jay swallows and picks up the cell, checking to make sure the speaker isn't engaged. Hey. Oh, good, Beth says. Glad I caught you. I'm trying to find out what to do for dinner tonight. I don't have the energy to cook, unless you feel like barbecuing? Doesn't matter to me. Maybe we'll just order in? But there's a birthday thing here. If I can't get out of it, I might be a little late. 7 or so? Sure, whatever. Cassie throws something at his crotch. He fumbles for it. It's a large, unlit joint. He looks at her in confusion. She covers her mouth, trying not to laugh. Beth is still talking. Oh man, I'm dragging myself around today. I'm so exhausted. I can't believe how that girl can still party. Cassie nods and gives a thumbs up. She can overhear Beth's voice? A tired laugh. To tell you the truth, I can't wait for her to leave. I'm getting so sick of her bullshit. I think she's... Cassie's expression drops. Jay cuts her off with a tumble of words. Hey, Camiso just got here. Gotta go. He moves toward the kitchen, out of earshot. What? Gotta go. See you tonight. He hangs up without saying goodbye. I guess I was wrong, Cassie says, gritting her teeth. You are a good liar. And so is Beth. He sighs helplessly, returning to the couch. She gets up to pour another drink. Your wife is so fucking two-faced. I can't believe it. First, she tells me she's just worried about me. Then she tells you she's sick of me? She's just hungover, that's all. She doesn't party much, and this is all just... His voice trails off. Too much for her? Too much for him? You don't have to make excuses for her, Jay. I know what she's like. I lived with her, remember? She's a fucking uptight bitch, and she's been judging me since the second we met. Without asking, she grabs his glass and fills it again, too. Don't say that. She loves you. Oh, yeah? Is that why she didn't reach out to me for 12 years? I tried getting in touch with her so many times, and never once did I hear from her. Not once. Didn't you guys have a fight or something? He doesn't want to get into it, but he feels strangely defensive about his wife. I don't remember any fight. Did she say that? She hands him his glass, but this time she walks around the coffee table and sits beside him on the couch. His whole body goes rigid. I don't know why she'd lie about something like that. Maybe I got it wrong. Seriously, drop it. Cheers. He holds up his drink in a quick toast, and they clink. He takes 3 big gulps, needing it badly. She takes a sip too, licking the vodka off her lips. As she adjusts her hips to face him more squarely, she tilts one knee on the couch. He can't help it. He looks down. Does she know that he can see everything? I was thinking, she begins, when I go, we're probably never going to see each other again. I guess not. He drains his drink, puts the empty glass on the table. Doesn't that bother you? She runs her tongue along the edge of her front teeth, dragging one finger downward, toying with the edge of the robe. He feels a strange tilt in his internal axis, as if the room has shifted. Her hand finds his bare knee, and she runs her fingernails along his skin. Jay, I asked if that bothered you? 'Cause... He grabs her wrist. What are you doing? Nothing, she says, shrugging, the picture of innocence. I told you I have work to do. He pushes her hand away, turning back to his papers, tapping another pile quickly. But his thigh feels scorched where she touched him. She laughs, grabbing the stapler. Don't be such a bore, she says, leaping up from the couch, bounding to the other side of the room. He huffs in frustration. Come on, Cass, give it. He holds out his hand. Then come get it, movie man, she teases, holding the stapler above her head. Cassie, don't be like that. Irritation, anger, desire. It's right here, she says, waving it. Come and... Energy springs into him. It explodes so suddenly, it's as if his bones have burst from his skin. He tries to leap over the coffee table, but his foot catches on it, and he stumbles forward, awkwardly righting himself at the last moment. But the table jerks out of place, and everything slides off. His papers scatter, his cell tumbles, the empty glass rolls across the carpet. He catches his laptop at the last moment. She just laughs. Don't fuck around, okay? He warns. You call this fucking around? Her voice is getting sharper. He stomps over to her and grabs her wrist in one hand. I said give it back! He twists the stapler away from her. Ow! She glares at him, her teeth clenched. Why are you screwing with my head like this? I'm not. You are, and you damn well know it. He throws the stapler behind him onto the table, but it slides off, bouncing under the couch. Let go, she demands, yanking out of his grasp. But she doesn't step away from him. Instead, she gives him a crooked grin and moves closer. She gets up on her toes, whispering in his ear, "Didn't she say she was gonna be late?" Her voice sends shivers across his skin. Is this really happening? Is she trying to get him in trouble? He tilts his head slightly, the sweetest, smallest movement he's ever made in his life, and their lips graze. It's electrifying. He shifts back, watching her mouth, but she doesn't pull away. Good God. He feels how rock hard he is. He doesn't know when it happened, no recollection, but right now it feels as if every cell in his body is centered between his legs, and there's only one way to release it, and she's staring at him right now. She's got you jumping, doesn't she? You don't deserve it, Jay. You don't. Another kiss, this one deeper. Her lips are lush, erotic, unfamiliar. His heart pounds as her tongue flicks out, wet and supple. She doesn't have to encourage him much more. He grabs her head and pulls her into him, kissing her roughly, like a dying man gorging at a waterspout. He feels her teeth against his, the soft cushion of her lips. She asked for it. She wants it. She doesn't care about Beth. Right now, neither does he. He grabs her shoulders and pushes her down on the thick carpet, the chair falling over as he kicks it. He hears the air jerk out of her as she hits the ground, scattered papers ripping and crinkling. She seems to love the roughness of it, a soft moan escaping, her eyes fluttering closed. His hands run along her body, splitting open that little robe, tearing at the knot in the belt, pulling it away. He looks down at her, the tanned skin still moist from the shower, the breasts that rise up toward him, rocking with each rough jerk. He begins dragging his mouth down her body, the fullness beneath him, the warm, eager skin. It's not even his fault, really. How can anyone blame him? 3 days alone in the house with her? So sexy, so hot. How could Beth do this to him? What did she expect? You can't leave a man alone with a girl like this. Not if you're not going to have sex with your husband for months at a time. It's too much to ask. It's Beth's fault, really. Beth's fault all along. And then the thoughts disintegrate, replaced only by red-hot impulse. He can't stop himself anymore. It's as if he's falling into her. God, she's hot. His hand slides between her legs, bare skin, wet flesh. It feels as if his arm will burn up. But suddenly she grabs his hand. "No, stop," she says, breathless. "Stop." He's heard those words before, pretended not to hear them. Shit. What's wrong? He's panicked now. Did he do it again? Was he being too rough? Not reading the signals right? He's supposed to know better. "Not here," she breathes. "Not here." He looks at her questioningly, feeling helpless. "I want to do it in your bedroom," she whispers. Jay hears a relieved whimper escape from his throat. "Why are you doing this to me?" "Because it turns me on." He picks her up in his arms and carries her down the hall, throwing her onto the bed. She bounces onto the mattress, laughing her smoky laugh, the mocha sheets twisting beneath her. He slides down on top of her, kissing her more deeply, rubbing against her, tugging the robe right off. She helps him rip off his own clothes. His t-shirt goes up over his head in an easy arc. His shorts are rumpled on the ground in seconds. She's an expert, a whore. He shoves his wife's fancy pillows off the bed, collapses on top of her. His blood pumps so hard, his veins surge like pipelines. He sees the skin on her neck, beautiful, vulnerable, her lips parted, her breasts heaving. Then the rest of the room vanishes, lost in the fog beyond his pleasure.
Chapter 49. Good. Thursday afternoon. Good stares at the sympathy card, reading the names of the other officers until his eyes lose focus. What is he supposed to write? Deepest condolences? Keeping you in my prayers? In the end, he scrawls his signature, Francis X. Good, and hands the card back to the rookie who's making the rounds with it. He doesn't even look at her. He doesn't want her to see the emotion in his eyes. Only after she walks away does he realize Francis X. Good was too cold. What's wrong with him? He should have put Frank. Even love Frank. Fuck. He shakes his head, going back to work. Work is the only thing that helps him forget the people involved in this case. Butler, Fiona, their daughters. It's not the first time he's lost a friend on duty. It won't be the last. Over the years, he's tried everything to get his mind off that part of the job. Boxing, kickboxing, meditation briefly, yoga even more briefly. Dawes dragged him to a class. Karate, running, pumping, squash, booze. The only thing that works for him is to stop trying to forget, because it never happens. So, instead, he works. He listens to Butler's voice on the field tapes, follows up his scant leads, takes phone calls from the task force, his captain, and internal affairs. He tracks Ogilvy's recent visa purchases, compares notes with Dawes. He hears himself make bad jokes trying to get her to laugh, or maybe to make himself laugh. Sometimes it works, but not often. The whole time, he tries not to smash his desk, the computer, and the entire squad room. He doesn't want to admit it, but it's Butler's laugh he wants to hear.
Chapter 50. Jay. Thursday evening. Jay? He opens his eyes, sees the ceiling of their bedroom. But it's not Cassie's voice he hears. It's Beth's. She's at the closet, taking off her blazer, frowning with concern. He rips the sheet across himself, his heart leaping in his chest. Pieces of reality fit together clumsily. The bed is empty. Cassie is nowhere in sight. Orange sunlight slants through the window. The clock reads 7:22 p.m. He was so goddamn exhausted, he must have passed right out. He feels the memory of the pleasure sliding along every inch of his skin, then off it, into the sheets, onto the floor, draining away. Only ice-cold fear is left. He got carried away, didn't he? He remembers the tender flesh of her neck beneath his hands. He doesn't want to think about the rest. You okay? You were out like a light. Beth's voice is only mildly critical, maybe even concerned. Yeah, I'm just exhausted. Me too, she says, yawning. She walks into the bathroom, and he hears the faucet turn on. He sits up in a panic, his heart pounding so hard it's as if he's come in from a run. Where the hell is she? Where did she go? He looks around, notices the pillows on the floor, quickly picks them up, sitting back in bed, catching his reflection in the mirror. Good God, he looks pale, and his eyes are blinking too fast. He feels the first dogged pull of guilt, then another, digging into his heart like a spade into the earth. Sorry I'm a little later than I thought. They had cake. Beth walks back into the bedroom. Then I decided to stop for some wine on the way home. Some nice bottles. It's her last night, I thought. Why not splurge? She laughs tiredly. I can't take any more beer. No problem. Her last night. What a relief. It can't come soon enough. Where is she? She gets undressed, stripping to her bra and panties, getting into sweatpants, his Princeton t-shirt. Jay doesn't know if he's turned on or embarrassed. I don't know. Isn't she out there? I didn't see her. Was she here when you got home? Home? From your meeting? Jesus, did you take a pill or something? Yeah, I didn't sleep well last night. How'd it go, by the way? With Camiso? Fine. Another lie. His life is nothing but lies now. But we're seeing him tomorrow for lunch and... His voice drops off when he sees Beth freeze, staring in the mid-distance beside him. Shit. They've left evidence behind. No condom wrappers. It was all bareback, but something else. Terrified, he follows her eye line, but she stares at the nightstand and the photo of her with her parents angled neatly to face him. He hadn't noticed it when they tumbled into bed. Did you put that back there? She asks. Of course not. Why would I? She rushes out of the room, down the hall. He twists the sheet around himself more fully, still searching the room for clues. The setting sun dips below the treetops, and the room is suddenly in shadow. Jay! Her surprised voice from the next room. What? His adrenaline spikes. It could be anything. She's left a written confession for Beth, hanged herself out of guilt. He sees Beth hurry down the hall, checking the rest of the house. She returns a moment later, looking stunned. She's gone. What? Her things. They're all gone. She must have just left. I guess that Lily friend of hers showed up. Did she say anything? No. She mentioned needing a ride, maybe, but she didn't even call to tell you she was going? No, she remarks, shaking her head in disbelief. Not even a thank you. Jay watches emotions flood across his wife's face. Anger, frustration, resignation. That girl, she never changes. Beth gets into her slippers and shuffles out of the room. Jesus, she just left? Is she trying to freak him out? Play head games? Or maybe Beth's right. Maybe that friend of hers just came early. Maybe it's nothing to worry about. He gets out of bed, leaning into the hall. I'm gonna take a shower. Might wake me up. He hears her distant voice. Okay. He turns on the faucet, the hottest water he can stand, and steps under the stream. He grabs the soap bar and begins to scrub, hard and fast. He's relieved she's gone, actually. It's the only respectable thing for her to do in this situation. Maybe she has some decency in her after all. Even so, he's nauseated. His own thoughts feel like fists inside his skull, and he has to defend himself against them. You prick, you bastard, you son of a bitch. How could you do that to your wife? With her best friend, too. But the defense batters back, blow for blow. Best friend? Are you kidding? It's not even his fault, the bitch, the slut. How could she do that to him anyway? Seduce him like that? Take advantage of him when he's weak and alone? It must have been all that shit she went through as a kid. Spiteful bitch. She must have planned this all along. What a slut. He fills with hatred, unable to believe what happened. He could kill her for what she's done to him. They had a good marriage. Beth was a wonderful wife. How could Cass do that to her? How could she do that to him? He's just glad she's gone and this whole nightmare is over. He never wants to see her again in his life.
Chapter 51. Cassie. Thursday afternoon. Jesus Christ, Jay! Cassie growls. Get off me! She pushes his chest, sweaty and rigid, against her palms, but he won't budge. I said get the fuck off! Another shove, and he finally rolls away. She scrambles to sit up, leaning over the edge of the bed, coughing.
I'm so sorry,
he says, breathless.
Are you okay?
She doesn't answer, bent over, rubbing her neck.
I didn't hurt you, did I?
She just glares at him and grabs her robe, storming out of the room.
Cassie!
She hears him call after her, but he doesn't follow her. She marches down the hall to the living room, needing a cigarette. Figures he'd be a freak. Into all that asphyxiation bullshit. Beth told her they hadn't had sex in months, and it was obvious. He'd been ravenous. But what an asshole choking her like that. Poor Beth, married to a... At the thought of her friend, her pace slows. She imagines Beth in her music studio, going about her day, and she feels a stab of guilt. But she shakes it off. It's not even her fault. She was just teasing. She didn't mean for it to go that far. She tried to stop him. Didn't she? He just wouldn't listen. The living room is still a mess of scattered papers, the chair knocked over. She finds her cigarettes and lights one, inhaling heavily. The smoke scorches against her sore throat. She goes to the kitchen, cupping her hands over the sink, slurping cold water. She still has to get out of here, now more than ever. Should she take Jay's car? He wouldn't report her, would he? He wouldn't dare. Not now. But she can't take that chance. In the guest room, she yanks the red duffel bag out from under the bed, feeling the dead weight of the money. She unzips it, making sure the gun is still there, too. She gets dressed quickly, a leather miniskirt and heels. She gathers up the rest of her luggage and sneaks out of the room, hurrying down the hall, stopping at the master bedroom one last time. Jay's on his back in a twist of sheets, but his eyes are closed and he's snoring. How can Beth stay with that bastard? For this? She looks at all the suburban touches her old friend cherished so much. It's a mausoleum. Beth's hiding behind all these trappings, but she can't hide anything from Cass. Not even that old photograph. Cassie knows who she really is. Moments later, she drops her bags in the kitchen and rifles through drawers, looking for a phone book, a flyer, anything with a cab company number. She could go to Footsie's and wait there, have a few drinks, then take the shuttle to meet Matt at the hotel. As long as Rick's not already outside, watching the house, then nobody could trace that route, not if she took the shuttle. She could spend the night with Matt, then figure out the rest from there. She's just got to stay a step ahead. She can do that. Fuck. She grits her teeth, unable to find a number for a cab. Nobody has a fucking phone book anymore these days. She needs a drink, a toke, something. She dropped that joint in the living room. She hurries in to search for it among the papers on the floor. Her gaze focuses on Jay's cell phone. She picks it up, swipes the glass, smiles to herself when there's no password. Maybe he has an Uber app she could use. But she gets a better idea when she sees his recent calls. She scrolls through them, tapping a number. Dad. A moment later, John Montgomery answers, sounding irritated.
Yes, Jason?
No, John, it's me, Cassie. Her throat still feels sore. She touches it lightly.
Oh, hello again?
There's an uncomfortable beat.
Can I help you with something?
Yes, actually, I have to ask you a huge favor. She's not sure he'll go for it.
What kind of favor?
He sounds suspicious. I need a ride somewhere.
I don't think I can today, Cassie.
Oh, please, she pleads, her voice pitching higher. I have to get out of here.
Why?
I'll explain when you get here. I can't talk about it right now.
Can't Jason drive you?
No, and Beth's at work. She pauses, lowers her voice again. And you're the only person I trust.
What's wrong, Cassie? What happened?
Please, John, just come. She hears him sigh. She closes her eyes and waits. 20 minutes later, his gold Cadillac pulls into the driveway, but John doesn't get out of the car. Cassie imagines he opens the door for his wife, but not for a strange young woman who needs a ride somewhere. He can't be seen doing that. She quietly lets herself out of the house, hurrying down the driveway with her bags. She wishes he'd pull closer. She feels so exposed. She tries the door, but it's locked. She knocks on the tinted window, looking around, noticing every flower, every bird, the vague outline of Los Angeles in a summer curtain of smog. There are trees and bushes everywhere. Rick could be watching her right now. The lock clicks open. She throws her bags in the back seat, then climbs in the front. Jay's father blinks at her, his blue gaze taking in her skimpy ensemble. "Okay if I smoke?" she asks, but she is already lighting a cigarette, her hand trembling.
"I suppose,"
he says, backing out of the driveway.
"Do you mind telling me what the urgency is?"
She draws deeply, closing her eyes, tilting her head back in relief. She shouldn't have done it. If Beth finds out, she'd never forgive her.
"Cassie."
The car swerves slightly.
"What happened to your neck?"
She doesn't answer. She considered covering the marks with makeup, but realized it was better to keep them visible.
"Did Jason do that to you?"
His voice is more worried now. "What do you think?" she asks him.
"Well, I'm sure he didn't mean it. Tell me what happened."
But Cassie doesn't answer, sinking down in the seat, putting on her sunglasses. They pass a dog-walking park, and Cassie sees people jogging, nannies with strollers, young mothers with their kids. She fidgets with her bracelets, staring out the window, seeing Rick in almost every face that turns her way.
"Could you at least tell me where we're going?"
he asks. "I'll tell you where to turn." He sighs, helpless, and keeps driving. He'll soon learn what both his son and daughter-in-law already know. Cassie Ogilvy doesn't take no for an answer.
Chapter 52. Jay. Thursday evening. Jay's hair is still wet from the shower when he finds Beth in the kitchen, smelling the wine cork. 2 glasses of red wine breathe on the counter in front of her. He notices the coffee table shoved out of place, the chair knocked over, the papers on the floor. It's just a slice of memory. What the hell happened in here? Looks like a cyclone hit. Were you guys drinking or something? Of course not. He hurries to tidy up, righting the chair, picking up the glass. I just couldn't find a page in the new budget and... His voice trails off as he glances around the room. Was there any other evidence? I just got frustrated, that's all. Well, we can relax now. She's gone, and we're relatively unscathed. Relatively, she adds with a laugh. She comes in with the wine, handing him a glass. Salut. He tries to smile. Salut. He takes a sip, relishing it. This is good. I know. It wasn't even on sale. I just felt like splurging for a... The phone rings, and Beth checks the screen. The Omni Plaza? Jay's stomach clenches when he remembers the first message from that hotel. This might freak you out a bit, but it's Cassie. Cassie O. Beth puts the phone on speaker and answers. Hello? Is Kathy there? It's a man's voice, nervous. Beth frowns, snapping to attention. Did you say Kathy or Cassie? I'm not sure, actually. If you're calling for Cassie, maybe... But he hangs up quickly. Weird, she says, staring at the receiver. I guess she was meeting some guy tonight. Maybe that's where she went. Who knows? I can't keep track of that girl. Yeah, she's insane. But he surges with... What is that? Jealousy? I warned you she was trouble, didn't I? She says, straightening the coffee table. You certainly did, he says, his voice glum. Tidying up, Beth finds the joint Cassie threw at him this afternoon. Of course, wherever Cassie goes, there must be marijuana. She sets it in the ashtray and turns to him. You still feel like ordering Thai? I really don't have the energy to cook tonight. But he doesn't answer her. He can't. Because he notices her CD case on the shelf where Cassie had left it the first night, before it all happened. He realizes now life will always be before Cassie and after Cassie. He picks up the case, handling it as if it were a precious artifact. His wife looked so beautiful at her piano, so innocent and brave. The tenderness that floods through him could almost drown him on the spot. She is such a good person. She doesn't deserve any of this. Jay, she seems irritated that he's not listening to her. Do you still feel like... What's that? She asks, frowning. He turns the case around to show her. We were listening to it the other night. You and Cass were listening to my CD? She narrows her eyes on him. Isn't that cozy? He's trapped, caught in an even worse intimacy than adultery. She just wanted to hear it, that's all, he stammers. So did I. You sounded so beautiful. I forgot how... But before he has time to finish, the phone rings again. This time it's Beth's cell, chirping on the kitchen counter. She walks over to answer, glancing at the screen, then holds up the display. Jay. Did you lend her your cell or something? He rummages through his papers, lifts the pillows on the couch. She took my phone? Hello? Hey, Cass? What's going on? Where are you? He waits, breathless, for the nightmare to begin, for the yelling and the fighting and the demands for divorce. How stupid could he be? The crazy bitch can torture him now. Just a sec, I'll check. Beth turns to him and whispers, She forgot something. Momentary relief as she heads down the hall, her voice fading. Were you supposed to meet someone tonight, Cass? Yeah, some guy called from... Jay watches her disappear into the guest room, moving out of earshot. His stomach churns with nerves. What if she's just getting Beth alone to confess? What if she tells her everything? A slice of fear cuts through him. What if she wants to blackmail him or press charges? He listens for the screaming, the banging, but a moment later he hears Beth's voice again as she walks back into the hall, returning to the living room. He watches her for any clue that she knows, but she seems normal. Uh-huh. Well, I can't find it. Are you sure you left it here? Maybe. Okay, whatever. Call if you need a ride, okay? I'm serious. You too. She hangs up and sighs again, loudly. I can't keep up with her. Why? What's wrong? She left something here? A gym bag? I don't know, but she's coming back for it. She's coming back? When? I'm not sure. Before she leaves town. I told her to call if she needed a ride. Well, is she coming tonight or not? Jay, I just told you, I don't know. She's playing it by ear. She sounded strange, actually. Strange? Yeah, when I told her that guy called, she sounded sort of nervous. I think she's in some kind of trouble. She's not telling me everything, that's for sure. No, she's not. Thank God. She said thanks for the phone, by the way. She'll drop it off when she comes. Whatever. He doesn't even care about his phone anymore, not if it means he has to see her again. But if Cassie didn't say anything just now, maybe she never would. Maybe she regretted it as much as he did. Maybe everything would be fine. I just can't believe how inconsiderate she is, Beth says, pouring more wine. First, she leaves without telling me, then she wants to come back, but she's not sure when. I love her, I really do, but things are always so chaotic when she's around. Why do I still have to deal with all this? I can't look after her for the rest of my life, can I? No, you can't. I've done enough for her already, haven't I? You certainly have. Good. I just want to forget the whole thing. Me too, he says. She smiles at him, a friendly little, oh, well, we'll get through this together, and it makes his stomach churn. Can we just smoke this? she asks with a weak laugh, picking up the joint. I could really use it. Good idea. She flops onto the couch and grabs the lighter from the coffee table, the same one Cassie used this afternoon. This is ridiculous, she says with a laugh. I haven't smoked this much dope since college. I'm ashamed of myself. She chokes slightly as she passes it to him, a shy smile on her face. She's always been such a bad influence on me. No kidding. He tries to laugh. He takes a long, deep draw on the joint, waiting for the calming effect he needs so badly. But now the room is too quiet, the air prickling with tension, questions, fear. We need some music, he says, grabbing the remote for the stereo. A piano sonata fills the room, each note drifting after the other in perfect sequence, perfect timing. Turn that off, Beth groans, reaching for the remote, but he holds it away from her. No, leave it. I love it. You sound so beautiful. Don't get too sentimental on me, Maestro. I know you hate this stuff. That's not true. I just hadn't heard it in so long, that's all. I forgot how brilliant you are. He takes her hand, kisses the back of it. You're so talented. What's wrong with you tonight anyway? She asks, frowning. Why are you being so sweet? Because I love you. Because I need you. Because I'm sorry. But instead, he smiles at her and nods for them to finish the joint and just listen. He watches the emotions play across his wife's face as music fills the room and smoke fills the air, leaving no space for conversation. She seems suddenly moody and complex. He loves this other side of her, the bohemian side all artists seem to have. It's the Beth Crawford he met 3 years ago, that strong, independent musician with the tight body and great hair. What has he done? Beth can never find out about it. Never.
Chapter 53. Good. Thursday night. It's almost midnight, and Good is still in the squad room, his brain numb from coffee and a lack of sleep. Time feels like a noose squeezing around his neck. Every minute it gets harder to breathe, harder to think. But then a call comes in about a dumpster fire downtown. Nothing to worry him personally until a local shopkeeper finds an abandoned handbag containing ID for one Cassandra Ann Ogilvy. When Good gets to the scene, the street is blocked off by cruisers and fire trucks, lights flashing, smoke thick in the air. He steps over the yellow police tape strung across the end of an alley and makes his way toward a dumpster, where firefighters train a hose on the smoldering mess. The smell of burned garbage is thick in the air, sweet and acrid, but there's also the unmistakable scent of burned meat. He sees Dawes taking notes from bystanders, everyone silhouetted in light from the shops behind them. Dawes notices him and heads over. There are no pleasantries. There must have been a struggle, she says. The butcher said his garbage bags were all over the place, and he found this in the mess. She hands him a black purse that seems to be nothing but a tangle of buckles and fringe. He puts on latex gloves and reaches in, pulling out an overstuffed black wallet, shining his flashlight on an expired New York State driver's license. Cassandra Ogilvy looks considerably cheerier at the DMV than she did in her mugshot, but it's definitely her. An officer in uniform, a burly young man with a brush cut, approaches them and produces his phone. Saw blood when I got here, sir. Thought hoses might wash it away, so I documented it before fire arrived. The young officer's name is Sanchez. He holds up his screen for Good to watch. Police video was admissible as evidence, and almost as helpful as the real thing. In the tiny image, Sanchez walks down the alley, recording the pavement at his feet, his heavy shoes clumping in and out of frame, the glow of the fire pulsing. The shot closes in on a pool of blood gleaming red, smeared on the asphalt. And where was that? Good asks. Next to the dumpster, just left of it. Good takes a step toward the smoking bin, but feels something underfoot. He looks down to see he's kicked several small, round beads across the grimy asphalt. Different colors scatter like little billiard balls after a break. He crouches down to have a better look. There's a broken leather thong on the ground, strung with a few wooden beads, like the one he found at the house. He remembers Nico Alvarez. She had lots of bracelets on her arms. I remember